Hello, friends, and welcome into Vol Club Confidential, Episode 7. We have an exciting show for you tonight as we transition a little bit to basketball. We'll talk football, too, and that exciting signing day celebration that Spire has planned coming up with the Vol Club on the 21st. And we'll do that with Brandon Spurlock in just a minute. But Tennessee's basketball team, 9-1 on the season, coming off a big 56-53 win up in Brooklyn over Maryland. First time those two teams have met since the 1980s. And, of course, the Orange Bowl is coming up December 30th. Tennessee and Clemson, the Tennessee basketball team, the Tennessee football team, both ranked 6th nationally as we sit here in the middle part of December. An exciting time here on Rocky Top. Now let's bring in Brandon Spurlock of Spire. Brandon, Vol Club, big signing day celebration coming up on the 21st. How can fans find out more about the event?
Yeah, we're really pushing hard here, closing on that date, December 21st, 6:30 p.m. at the press room downtown. So really excited. You know, I don't know that we've done, as a university, done a signing day event here in several years. And so really trying to take it to another level and do a twist on the traditional signing day event. I know you and Brent Hubbs will be involved in having Coach Heupel there. And actually the twist for this one is, and I don't know if it's been done, but having some of the actual signees present.
It's never been done before.
Has it not? Okay, I figured you'd know about that. So, you know, hopefully that's something to get people out. You know, we've got a pretty exciting flow. We've got a VIP event, you know, before the 6:30 time that we're working with people on. But, you know, starting at 6:30, not all the players, but the ones that are here early, they're enrolled early, they'll be there, and we'll kind of have them set up around the room where people will be able to meet them, get autographs, kind of spend some time with them, and then they'll hear from you guys and Coach Heupel about, you know, really a State of the Union about the season that we just had, but most importantly focusing on signing day and kind of what's ahead.
Yeah, Brenton Hubbs and I will break down the class, and then we will talk about and tell recruiting stories with the current members of the class, and then, of course, the coaching staff, which is led by Coach Heupel. Basketball season in full swing, as we just talked about. Tennessee 9-1 on the year. Big game next week on the road at Arizona. But once they return home for SEC play, you all will have some, not tailgates, because nobody's trying to be outside in January, but like some inside type tailgate stuff during the games and some watch parties.
Yeah, I think this is the cool part of having, you know, your programs competing at the highest level. You kind of get the whole calendar to work with, not just football, but baseball and basketball. So in the spring, you know, we did the baseball porches. We did some of that early on as we were getting the Vol Club off the ground. You know, with football, we did the tailgates. And with basketball, we're going to do watch parties here at our office. We've got a pretty good setup, you know, to do that. And then we're going to take that show on the road. So Vol Club members should be looking out for that soon in terms of, you know, major cities and then cities where we have an interest, you know, between Nashville, Memphis, Tri-Cities, and Chattanooga, doing those watch parties. And then the other thing that we've got going right now for our members or new members is anyone that does like an annual membership before the end of the year, there's certain promotions that they can take advantage of in terms of gift cards and things like that. So check out thevolunteerclub.com for all that information, the signing day event, the promotions, and then the watch parties. We'll be reaching out on those.
That's right. And make sure you check the newsletter with the Volunteer Club. Now, let's get to the main attraction. It's the little big guy, Zakai Zeigler.
How are you?
Joined by the man of the hour, Zakai Zeigler. Zakai, sophomore year underway. You guys are 9-1, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the show. How different does this year feel versus last year, though, having been in the system for a year?
Honestly, I just feel like I got a much bigger role. Last year, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was just trying to do whatever it takes to get on the court and whatever it takes to impact the team. But this year, I started to, as the summer was coming along, I knew that I had more of a standard, and I would be on team scouting reports, and I would pretty much have to get past some key defenses, and I'll have to know more what I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to just get out there and play, but it's now just I have to know that I'm on somebody's key list.
This is episode 7 of Vol Club Confidential. Who knows how many we'll do, 100, 1,000, whatever. I don't think there'll ever be two contrasting voice styles. You've got the pride of Rogersville, Tennessee here, and then you've got the pride of Long Island here. So it's, you know, you've got the country twang, and then you've got the New York.
Yeah, everybody get on me about my voice. A lot of people tell me my voice don't match my body. I've been hearing that since I was in, like, 6th grade.
All right, so let's go all the way back. When you're a kid in New York, at what point did you truly remember loving basketball the way you do?
Honestly, I took the transition because I used to hate basketball. Honestly, when I was little, my mom made me play. Like I liked football, and that was the only thing I ever wanted to do. My cousin was a football player, and she had told me she was gonna sign me up for basketball, and I just started crying. I was like, man, I'm not trying to do that. Like basketball's for girls. It's not enough contact. And then I went to first practice, first game, and I did pretty good. And I was like, it's not too bad. But then 8th grade, I finally said, yeah, no more football, and I'm gonna just stick to basketball.
You used to ride around. You'd take those subway cars. Mike Wilson did a great story on you last year. About how you'd hide out from the conductor because you didn't have the money to pay for the subway ride. When you're going to those courts and you're showing up, everybody's going to look at him and go, hey, he can't play. You look, he's too short, this and that. How much pride did you take in that? Like, I'm going to show you.
I took a lot of pride. And then honestly, going to the courts, it wasn't that I was little. It was that I was from Long Island. That's what it was more so, because I used to spend a lot of time with my friends that lived in Queens, Harlem, like the Bronx. And so at one point, a lot of people did think I was from Queens. And somebody said something, and I was like, man, I'm from Long Island. And it was like, oh, y'all a bunch of soft boys. So that's where it really came from originally, like a lot of people not like respecting Long Island. And then at this point, I feel like it's a lot of hoopers out of Long Island now that's well respected. How
much do you like the outdoor courts? Is that just kind of like, is that basketball in its most pure essence for you?
Definitely. It's more like a vibe. It's like a safe space. Everybody's just outside, and it just feels more free instead of just being inside.
I know it's not based in New York. Big fan of White Man Can't Jump?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I watched that movie maybe 100 times. I love that movie.
That's your jam?
Yeah.
You Wesley Snipes?
Yeah. That's me. I'm that. I could jump a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit.
In those games, how much? You're a trash talker. So I mean, how is that where you perfected it?
Definitely. Yeah, me and my mom, we trash talk a little bit each other, and even like, say I'm playing bad in the game, she'll probably trash talk me the worst out of everybody.
Whoa, your mom trash talks you?
Yes. If I'm playing bad, she will trash talk me the worst out of everybody. I can tune everything out. But once I hear her say something, I'll be like, oh my God, like she gotta stop. Because she knows how to get me with.
Is that motivation?
Oh, definitely. But we go back and forth all the time. Even if it's a workout and I'm missing shots and I'm starting to get mad at myself, she'll say, this was her favorite saying when I was growing up. If I'm playing bad, she'll say I was playing like a girl, and then she'll be like, if you wanted to be a cheerleader, you should have just told me that. And that used to make me heated, but then that did make me play better, so I'm glad she did that. But still, to this day, we still trash talk.
So what you're telling me is you and your mom on game day would be the equivalent of Reggie Miller and Spike Lee.
Yes.
You're trash talking your mom the way he trash talks Spike Lee.
Yes. I can't answer her phone call on the game day. I can text her because she can't say what she wants to say through a text. She can't emphasize it as much. But if I cannot talk to her on that phone because of how much she trash talks me before a game. Seriously. She's crazy.
So what you go back home, you get the big win. I know you didn't offensively play as well as you wanted to. Did you get MVP up there in Brooklyn? How big was that for you? Just because you're going back to your home state.
Yeah, I mean it was a good feeling, but honestly, I didn't realize it until today, how big it was. I was talking to my cousin, and he had brought it up, and I was just like, we won, and it was a fun game. And he was like, man, sometimes you just gotta sit back and realize what you actually just did. Like, it was times that I dreamed of being in those positions and playing in the Barclays Center. And actually, when I was in middle school, I played in the Barclays Center when they had first remade it. And that was the brand new courts. That's when Deron Williams was there. And it was really big just to be able to come back. And now from transitioning from middle school to be there in college, but it was a really, really fun experience.
Knicks or Nets?
Nets, for sure.
Not a Knicks guy, huh?
No. I'm all the way a Nets fan.
You like Madison Square Garden, though?
Not after the performance we had last year.
Well.
So, But I do like.
But that's the mecca, though, right?
Yeah,
For any
yeah,
sport, whether
that is
it's
the
an
mecca.
entertainment for a concert or basketball, hockey, whatever, to play in MSG is a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I used to because the trains I would take, the main platform was Penn Station, and that's where it's right under MSG.
Yeah.
So once I come out the train, I'll just I'll wait a second. It's a big screen outside. They used to play the games on, so it would be it would be really cool just to sit out there and watch those games. And last year to be able to play in it was like something checked off my bucket list.
New York teams. I think sports in general. Some people may argue with this, but I think sports in general are neat when Chicago, New York, L.A. have those teams that are really good. When the Knicks are good. When the Yankees are good. The Giants or Jets. It's a special sports town.
Yeah.
How much do you How much did you kind of have that ingrained into you? Were you a big fan of all sports when you were growing up? You said you loved football.
Yeah, I was really big on football and basketball.
Giants or Jets?
See, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I was a big-time Troy Polamalu fan. I used to wear my hair out like him. I thought I was the next Troy Polamalu. But, yeah, I'm a Steelers fan. But it was ingrained into me. Like, when I was younger, I remember my mom and my dad taking me to I don't really remember, but I remember them telling the story of how they took me to Madison Square Garden, and we went to go watch Stephon Marbury play.
Oh.
And they was telling me, I kept saying, like, yeah, they got me this little basketball from the toy shop or whatever, the shop in MSG, and I just kept saying, like, Mom, I want to put this ball in that basket. I want to shoot in that basket. They kept telling me I was trying to run down and go shoot in the hoop, but that's a story that I'll always remember.
How much do you follow basketball history? I mean, like, do you know where Stephon Marbury played college ball at? Do you follow it like that, or do you?
Not really. I follow it a little bit based on players and which I like most, but not too much. Not too much.
Jordan or LeBron?
Who's
the GOAT?
I say LeBron because I saw what LeBron did. I did not see what Michael Jordan did. I hear.
How much did you watch The Last Dance though, and did that kind of?
I watched it, but still,
you aren't living it.
I'm not living it. Like, I understand, but I saw what LeBron did. That three, when he came back 3-1 finals, that was some of the craziest things I ever saw.
Do you and your teammates ever get into that debate, or are you all all like? How many teammates on this team would take Jordan? Because I mean, most of them are in the LeBron era, so like it's kind of natural for someone at your age to go with LeBron, whereas like my age, it's natural to go Jordan.
Yeah, I would say two, but I wouldn't say that they would pick Jordan or LeBron. I think they would just want the argument. They would get their point across. They would just try to win the argument, and that's definitely Olivier and Jamai. They are going to try to argue their way and win the conversation.
Are they the greatest debaters on the team?
Yes. Those two having a conversation, one of the funniest things I've seen.
So you're telling me that they should be the tandem of the law firm of Kamwa and Meshack?
Yes, definitely, because they're gonna make sure that you know what their point is, and they're gonna get their point across, and they're gonna make sure you believe what they believe. They're crazy.
All right, so when you're growing up and you're hitting those gyms, in Long Island, at what point, when you started to really love basketball, when you got past 8th grade, did you really start to perfect who you are as a player? The little jitterbug, defensive, just pest, just all up in your grill, and then, quicker than a hiccup, getting off the bounce? I
would say about a few months before I came to UT, because I was always like, hey, I got to score the ball, I got to do this, that, and I had an AAU coach. I lived in Queens, and this AAU coach Shan, he had called me from New York Lightning, and he was asking me to play and stuff, and he had used to live in the projects that I used to live right next to, so he had felt like we had a connection in a way type already, and he was a small guard, and so he had told me like, yeah, if you want to get to it, you want to get to it. This isn't gonna work. Though my way won't work, and I just took it on the chin and said, all right, I'll listen to you. And once I finally listened to him, Peach Jam is when I actually performed and did what he had told me to do, and now I'm sitting here today. You're
this hard-nosed, tough kid from New York. Rick Barnes is really tough to play for, and he demands so much out of his point guards.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Josiah here in episode 1. He talked about, when he first got here, he hated Rick Barnes.
Yeah.
But now it's like he has this great appreciation for what he's brought out of him.
Yeah.
Is that similar for you?
Definitely.
I mean, and was it different, or are you just like, I can roll with anything?
It was kind of more like I can roll with it. Because last year, honestly, I don't think the coaches. I feel like the coaches knew what I could bring, but I don't think any of us expected it to be like that, including me. But this year, once my role got bigger and he started to get on me more, after the Colorado loss, when everybody was saying, "Oh, Coach Barnes was being."
When he moved you to the bench and then had you coming off and you played just as much.
Yeah, I felt like it was just tough love, and it was just out of he knows what I should do and what I can do. So I don't see it as him being mean or just rough only on me or picking on me. I just see it as constructive criticism.
How would you describe him? Josiah described him called him a psychopath, which is funny because I mean, like how he coaches a certain way, but as soon as practice ends,
that's why
goes back to putting your arm around him and back to talking about just life and having a good time.
I would 1,000% agree with what Josiah said. I've seen him one day yell at somebody, and then turn around and just start laughing and joking around, and turn back around and start screaming at us. Walk up the court. And turn and start laughing. So he's two different people on and off the court. Off the court, he's one of the most down to earth guys I know. Like he really cares about us more than humans and people rather than just basketball players. On the court, he just wants us to be the best we can be.
Basketball staff's pretty tight knit. I mean, he's had a little bit of turnover here recently with Dez getting a job and different people moving on. But you've got Mary Carter over there. She's a key piece to the puzzle. Yep. Tom Sakoviak, key piece to the puzzle. Mm-hmm. Football's so big. Basketball, way fewer players, sports staff, all that. How would you describe the group? And I don't mean just players, the whole deal.
It's like the quote we always use, it's not about me. Everybody is always putting their foot forward for somebody else. They're not just doing something rather to benefit themselves. They always... Pretty much, we always have each other back. Like if it puts me in a bad position, but puts everybody else in a good position, I think everybody will do what they have to do. That's how I describe our whole program.
Most people know Zakai's story. Last year, middle of the year, your house got burned down in New York. Luckily, no one was hurt, but you lost everything in a blink.
Right.
You had to go out and play like right almost immediately.
Yeah.
When you found out and then had to have that quick turnaround, what's going through your mind?
Honestly, I was trying to keep it off my mind as much as possible, but it was just so tough because I remember we went to Georgia, we had shoot around. I wasn't feeling it that much, and then we got to the game, we started warming up, and I was fine. And then I remember right before the game, I turned and I saw my mom, and I was just like, all my energy just shut down. And once I got in the game, it was ugly. I didn't play well, but thankfully that was the one time I got some sympathy from Coach Barnes, and he let me off the hook that one time. And I told him it won't happen again, but it was pretty tough, a pretty tough turnaround. But then after that Georgia game, we played Arkansas, and it was all back to normal.
24 hours, Tennessee fans raised $365,000, enough for your mom and everybody to relocate down here. What'd that mean? I mean, in the moment, I know you're so appreciative, but a year later, looking back on it, I mean, what's that say?
I see Vol Nation as a true family. It was much more than basketball at that point. It wasn't just,
a family you weren't even a part of just a few months earlier.
Exactly. That's how I looked at it. I'm really big on family. My mom, we're super close. We're like best friends. We argue all the time. We talk all the time. We're just like best friends. So just to see the people of Vol Nation have our back like that, in a blink of an eye, just say they can help us out, and just for it to come to that, it was like words can't explain like how thankful and how much I really appreciate it.
You see what the football team did this year at 10-2.
Yeah.
Those kids getting Tennessee football back. You were a part of a team last year that won the SEC tournament for the first time in over 40 years.
Yeah.
can you compute what that means to people, and then what it just meant to the program?
Oh, it was a crazy feeling because we didn't stop playing that game until that final buzzer went off. It was maybe 1 second left. We were up 15, and we all looked up, and then everybody started celebrating. It was just a crazy feeling. It's a feeling that I expect to have again this year too.
Nickname? Is it just Z or is it ZZ?
ZZ, Ziggy. A lot of people call me Kai. But yeah.
What's your favorite?
Along that line. I honestly just say Kai. Like if somebody asks me, I would say my name is Kai.
What's your middle name?
Starts with a Z.
So it's 3 Z's.
Yeah, triple Z. You can take a guess what it is.
Zeke.
Zakai Zeigler.
Oh, I was never going to guess that.
Yeah, I wanted to see what you guessed it.
What if I had, though? You didn't like.
Yeah, I would have said you looked it up. That's what I would have said.
I'm thorough. I'm not that thorough. So you got Triple J. You got Triple Z. Mm-hmm. Hey, maybe that's a new thing. All right, we're going to take questions from Instagram and Twitter. How's your family settling into the new house down here?
Oh, they're settling great. They love it. My nephew, he flies down the stairs all day long. My mother, she loves that she has a kitchen to herself. She could cook, she can move around. But it just feels good that we have a place that we can actually call home. Favorite
moment as a Vol basketball player so far is what?
Definitely the SEC chip by far, because that, like you said earlier, we haven't won that in over 40 years. And a lot of people have attempted to do it and they couldn't. But just for us to have something that's went down in history and nobody can take it away from us is a really good feeling. This
one is not from social media, but it ties in. You with one of the questions about wearing number 5. You got permission from Lofton to wear 5. Yeah. How have you really kind of bonded with him? Have you had to get to spend some time with him and just kind of pick his brain?
I remember the first day I actually saw him, and he was in the gym shooting. We had ended practice, and he started shooting. I had no idea who he was. Everybody kept saying, "Yo, he could shoot the ball. He could shoot the ball." And I was like, yeah. Like I didn't have no idea who he was or his background. I was like, yeah. And then the next day we had practice again, and there's this drill that Olivier does. Is you have to make 14 shots, pretty much 1 at 7 spots, there and back, and you can't miss 3. If you miss 3, you got to start over. And Olivier was doing it. He was struggling a little bit. And then Chris Lofton went up there, and he did it, and he missed, like, 2 shots. Oh, no, he missed 1 shot. And I was like, that's not an easy drill. I was like, maybe I could do it. I was like, maybe it's not that hard. And I think I actually did do it my first try, and then he did it again. And then I tried to get it a second time, and I couldn't do it. And I was like, man, how old? I thought he was pretty young. And then I found out how old he was. I was like, man, so who is he? And I started hearing the history behind it. I was like,
you watching your highlights online?
Yeah, I have. And I saw that
the shot over Durant.
I was just about to say that. I remember Coach Barnes had brought it up, too, exactly where it was at. And I saw the clip. I was like, wow.
He did one at Vanderbilt on the road, too, and it was even further than that. I mean, like, just pulled one. I mean, like, it was barely across midcourt. I mean, it was, before Curry was doing that, right? And he pulled it right across midcourt and just buries it. I mean, it was he made one in the NCAA tournament to, advance them to a game winner, like where he basically had to take it over the corner of the backboard, basically as time expired. I mean,
that's some shooter's
clutch.
Touch. Shooter's touch. Shooter's touch is real.
Take it back to New York. How much do you know about Ernie and Bernie?
I didn't know much about Ernie, but I knew a lot about Bernie. Not a lot, but I knew, he was pretty much one, if not the greatest player in New York, or from New York. I did not know he came to Tennessee before my visit. I saw the big banner that said he's in Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I was like, man, what? He went here? But he definitely is one of those goats in New York.
All right, back to social media questions. If you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Fried chicken, for sure. I could eat fried chicken every day.
From where? What's your go-to? What's your go-to in New York for that?
I would just say my mom cooking.
Okay, I'm with you.
My mom making it. But at a store in New York, I like deli food a lot. Deli food or Spanish food, like chicken and rice or beef.
No New York-style pizza?
I love New York-style pizza, too, but
anything close to that here?
So much. No.
Is there anything locally that that would be similar to something you ate growing up that you really like? Oh, that feels like back home.
There's a place called Dulce's. It's Jamaican food. That's what I would say is the closest thing, because I used to eat a lot of Jamaican food too growing up.
All right, this one, I don't normally read the names, but this one is from one of your teammates. We'll see if you can guess who it is. Why are you such a messy roommate?
No. BJ. It's either BJ or Toby said that.
It's not, actually. It's Josiah.
Josiah's not my roommate. And Josiah cannot talk. I wish he was here. I could ask him why his locker is so messy.
Most competitive person on this team not named Zakai Zeigler.
That's a tough one, because Olivier, super competitive. Jamal, super competitive. Josiah, Santi. I would say, honestly, everybody. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely say Olivier.
All right, so you got all these guys that have, they're internationals, whether it's, from Finland or wherever. Do any of them ever talk in a game in the foreign language so the officials don't know what they're saying when they're upset?
I heard Santi do it last year, maybe 2 times, but he doesn't do it that much. Urosh doesn't care. He'll say it in English.
Yeah, he'll just say
it in English. He
does not care.
But Santi, I've heard him say something in Spanish a few times. That's the only person I can.
Do you ever get does that get to you?
No, I think it's hilarious when they say stuff, especially Urosh when he talks in his language. He always messes with me. I just start laughing. I think it's hilarious when he does that. Like, he'll be on the phone talking with somebody from back home, and I'll hear it and just start dying laughing. He's just like, "Z, are you serious? This is just this is my language." But I don't know why. It's just so funny to me.
Favorite sport to go to, not named basketball. Is it football, or do you like baseball? You went to a bunch of baseball games last year.
I definitely did. I never went to a baseball game before I got here.
So you never went to a Yankees game growing up?
Never. I went to a Knicks game when I was younger. I went to a few Nets games, and I went to a few Giants and Jets games. But I never been to a baseball game. I remember Josiah was trying to he was pulling me out of the room when we were roommates. And he was like, "Hey, let's go to this baseball game." And I wasn't really feeling it because I never really watched baseball like that. I didn't understand it. I kept saying, like, I'm not trying to go to a 3-hour game for the score to be 1-2. I don't want to do that. And
so soccer really where you shut down then?
Yeah, soccer. I went to.
You're so quick though. I think you could be good at that.
Maybe. That takes a lot. A lot of footwork skill. I don't know if I have that yet. But I went to a soccer game too, and I stayed until halftime, and I was like, "Man, I have to leave. I can't do it." It was 0-0. I didn't like it. But baseball, definitely. I went to a few of those games, and once I started to learn like how to actually play it, not play it, but the rules of it.
Sure,
it was pretty fun, and I know some baseball players too. I was in class with them at that time, so it's pretty cool.
How much do you enjoy that portion of it from just being a classmate?
Yeah. It's pretty fun. Like it's fun than being a regular student and just going to other games and hanging out with regular classmates and non-athlete classmates. It's pretty cool.
Did you end up down on the field after the Alabama game?
Oh, okay. So I told Josiah in the beginning of the game, once we got up 14-0, we was up 21-0, and I said, "Yo, if we're losing at any point, I'm leaving because I don't feel good. Like I was tired. There was a lot of people out. I was hungry."
You left.
And I said, "Yo, if we go down 1 point, I'm leaving. I'm letting you know now." He's like, "Okay." Well, I didn't think we were gonna go down at any point, but that's what I was saying. And then we went down, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm leaving." I got to my room. I was laying down for a second, and then I heard everybody. I was with Urosh. I left and went to Urosh and Julian's room. We were hanging out. And then all we hear is that people just start banging on doors. Everybody was running around. People were running out of our building. And I was like, "What's going on?" And we were all confused. And
you like fire drill?
It was like, what? It was like, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, we won." Man, I wish I was on that field for that moment though. That's probably the biggest moment. I was like, man, I was actually mad that I missed.
So you had fear of missing out.
Yeah, that was a tough one to miss. It's all good though. It's fun. Hopefully I experience it again though.
They've stormed a basketball court a time or two around here.
Hopefully.
Never know. Get a big one.
Yeah, but I don't think so. I don't think that'll happen because we're supposed to win every game. So I wouldn't see it as that, as any big wins. Because we're supposed to be number one. If we beat the number 2 team, supposed to beat them. So.
How much do you love the Kentucky atmosphere?
Oh, I love it. That's a game that's a lot of trash talking in. That definitely is. SEC play deals with a lot of trash talking, but that Kentucky-Tennessee game is definitely one that's always on everybody's calendar. Everybody, and I can't wait for that one this year. And we got them home first this year.
Home games or road games? Because some people like going in kind of the lines in, so to speak.
Games. I love going to road games. But I honestly feel like it's not easier to play on road games, but I feel more comfortable in road. Not more comfortable, but I don't know the word. But I feel no pressure going into away games.
Take away Thompson Bowling and Pratt. Favorite spot on campus?
Favorite spot on campus? Neyland.
So you like that?
Or Lindsey Nelson. One of those two.
What about from an academic standpoint? Like, do you ever walk by the torchbearer and go, and think like, okay, what's this story here?
I did, and I never asked the story though. I always wondered it, like, what was the whole thing behind the torchbearer? But I would say I don't know what it's called, but it's like the walkway where it's something that nobody's supposed to step on, or it's bad luck.
Oh, it's the
I'm not
it's
sure
the
what
seal.
it's called. Yeah, and I saw a couple of people laying down on it one time, and that was the funniest thing ever. Cause I didn't understand like why everybody was looking at this guy like I was looking at him like, why is he laying down on like in the middle of it, and everybody was just looking at him like, what is he doing? And then I heard the story behind it, like it's bad luck if you do that, and that was.
So now do you go around?
Oh, I definitely do. I stepped on it a few times before I knew that too.
Uh-oh.
But I think it brought us good luck because we won the SEC chip. So, but I'm not going to take that risk to do it again, though. Not happening. Not happening.
Favorite app on your phone's what?
Probably Apple Music. I love listening to music.
What you listen to?
Lil Baby. I listen to a lot of New York rappers, too.
Buddy, I have done many, many, many recruiting commitment videos. And every kid wants Little Baby.
Yep.
And it's never the same song twice. He's the Dave Matthews of that genre because he's got so many songs. Yep. I've never used the same one. I'm like, when's a kid going to ask me, hey, download this song? And then the worst is like when they go, I want this song. And then you download it. And then you're like, no, I want to do this song. No, I want to do this song. I'm like, okay, now download 3 songs.
Yeah, I was like that on my commitment when they asked me what song I wanted to do it, and I was just like, it was like 3 different Little Baby songs, and I said, all right, I want this one, but it was all Little Baby for sure.
What's something most people don't know about you?
A lot of people don't know I'm actually very shy. A lot of people don't know that. They expect me to be not the loudest person, but I feel like they expect me to be very outgoing. But when I go to class and I just sit back and I'm super quiet in class, a lot of people don't expect that from me. Now, when I get to know you, I'll probably be the loudest person you know. But before you get to know me, I'll be a little bit shy.
So can I expect you to yell at me from now on when you see me? Not like yell at me, but
definitely.
You're going to be chatting my ear off?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, here's your question. So my daughter plays, she plays in the Hardin Valley Youth Basketball League, and she's on the short side.
Yeah.
And so Saturday I was explaining to her, I'm like, hey, you can't, once you get the rebound, you can't go down. Once you take it down, you're done because the other girls will get in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started showing her highlights of you. I had her watching the game the other night.
Yeah.
What advice would you give her? Because her thing was, I'm shorter than everybody. And I said, yeah, but that you can't let that be, your handicap. You have to find ways to overcome. You do that.
I would just say playing the hardest because that, believe it or not, that is intimidating to a lot of people. Once they see you step on the court and they see that you're trying your hardest, and they might say, all right, I need to raise my level of play just because they see how much you're doing and how much you actually care. But I would just say giving it your all no matter what on that court.
What's the one thing individually you want to accomplish before you're done? We know what you want to accomplish team-wise, championships, win, hang banners, but individually.
Before I leave, I want to get a Defensive Player of the Year. That is one goal of mine that I always looked at, and I always felt like it was more cool than being an MVP.
One way to keep Barnes off of you too.
Yeah, definitely. But I always felt like that was more like that was a cooler look than being a most outstanding player or most valuable player, definitely defensive player.
Well, Zakai, we appreciate the time. It's a great kind of deep dive and kind of getting to know you. Troy Polamalu, you're a big football guy.
Yep.
He's never been to a Yankees game. We're learning baseball.
I got to go to one.
And he missed the Alabama celebration.
I was on the outside. I wasn't inside kneeling. I was on the street, though. So I got a little bit of it.
He got a little bit of it. What a story. And he's just a sophomore. And we're only 10 games into his sophomore season. Many, many more stories to be written over the next couple of years. We appreciate you joining us on VolQuest Confidential.
Appreciate you.